everybody, welcome back. And in today's video, we're going to be carrying on with the Greek words that are used to represent Jesus Christ's second presence. And first of all, we're going to start off with a quite easy start, but going to go into more depth. So first of all, we're going to look at what does one of the Greek words mean. What Parousia we're going to start with. So first of all, what does Parousia mean? Parousia means presence. But in other different versions of the Bible, it has been mistranslated as coming. And we know, and I think most of you probably know, that coming and presence are both two different meanings of words. Since we know that presence means something that is happening now, but coming means that something is going to happen. It's not yet happened. So we first need to note the proper English translation of words though. So first of all, for example, let's go into the in-depth of the word Parousia. So we know it's been mistranslated, and it's mainly been mistranslated as the word coming, Parousia, in the King James Version. In most main instances, it's been mainly placed, like it's mainly happened in the King James versus books. So now what we're going to look at is an example of a proper version, a proper way of saying Parousia as in presence meaning, and then we're going to look at an example where it's talking about Parousia meaning coming, which has been mistranslated. So let's jump right in. So for example, we're going to start with the proper way by saying presence. For example, we're going to start by reading the verse Philippians 2nd chapter 12th verse. So I'm getting the verse. Okay, so here we go. So the verse says, "Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed me, not only in my presence, but now much more in absence, continue to work out your salvation with fearing and trembling." In this verse it says. So what this verse says, Apostle Paul is talking to the Philippine brethren and saying, obedience to God is must for individual salvation. And do not obey God just for my sake, in my presence, in my sake to obey God. But you must also obey God in my absence. Since you have to show true obedience to God, not just for name's sake. So from this, we can understand that as Apostle Paul, as a Greek scholar, what we're trying to find out is what Apostle has said, not the meaning of the verse. So from this, we can tell that Apostle Paul is used the meaning Parousia as presence. If you remember what I just said, you would have heard the word presence. So this is trying to mean that Apostle Paul is using the proper meaning of the word presence. So we can understand that here. So, now, we're going to move on to the next example. So, let's go in to the mistranslated version. So, we're now going to jump right in. So, first of all, it's a verse that we've already actually seen, so we're not going to get out of the Bible. So, it's Matthew 24th chapter 3rd verse. And this verse is the verse we looked at last week. And we know there are 3 questions asked by the disciples and apostles. So the first question is, when Jesus Christ talks to them about the Jerusalem temple going to be destroyed after it's been renovated by the Roman emperor already. So from this, we need to understand that if you want to go into more detail, you can read here we go. Matthew 24th chapter for the first 2 verses. If you understand those 2 verses, you can understand the first question. But we're not going to go into the details of the questions. We're just going to see how it's been mistranslated. So you now understand the first question, since Jesus Christ is asking them, the apostles are asking Jesus Christ, when will the Jerusalem temple going to be destroyed after it's already been renovated by the Roman emperor? So the first question they ask is, when will this happen, they ask. So then the second question is, what is the sign of the Parousia? So they've used the word Parousia in the second question, but Parousia has been mistranslated, as we know, as coming, so we don't exactly understand the question. But it said sign here. So the reason why they've said sign, why? Well, the reason why they've used the word sign in this verse is because they know that this suggests to us that Jesus Christ will not come in a physical form, because the only way is going to be shown as sign, since he'll be in the spirit. So this proves Jesus Christ is not going to come. So this is another problem that's happened due to this mistranslation, since we can understand they're talking about the sign here. So now we understand that Jesus Christ is now invisible and cannot be seen, since he's in the spirit. So, now the final question was, when will the end of the world happen?